Tenpai, Tenpai, Tenpai. Still on top. Or is it? Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, even after the nerfs, Tenpai is still insane. And we're going to talk about it. As you can see, we are playing Tenpai, the deck that I have said now like 6 times. And with the new cards, most notably Voiceless and Purulia, we have gotten more ways to draw into our engine. So sure, the Song and Summoning went to 1, losing 1 copy of it, and Chandra went to 1, losing 2 copies of it. But does that actually matter? Well, I'm going to show you today, and honestly, this is... yeah, not much has changed. The biggest thing is Chandra now is more susceptible to individual interactions like Called By when it goes to the grave, or a myriad of other things, because now it just like goes away forever. But for the most part, it's not really that big of a deal. As for the rest of the cards, not much has changed. We're going to start off here with the Tenpais. Obviously, we're playing 3 Paidra. We're also playing 2 Genroku and 1 Chandra. And I like to play 2 Fadra because there's a lot of instances where you kind of just need the second one to reborn a guy in grave and to make sure that you still have access to that once the other one goes to grave. There's a lot of times where that does come up, and it is extremely useful to have the second one. I would never play 3, but 2, absolutely. And that's and then we're also playing it 2 Dora Dora. That's just an additional way to get our normal summon and stuff like that. It's okay, but it's not exceptional. We're also, of course, playing the 1 Song and Summoning and the 3 Kaimin. And that's pretty much it for the engine. The rest of this is non-engine. Starting off with the draw spells, draw hand traps, triple Maxi, triple Fuwalos, and 2 Purulia. I considered playing 3 Purulia because being able to draw cards is just inherently nice, but the problem is that, sure, being able to like shotgun one is very strong, and like having access to multiple of the draw spells is nice, but Purulia in particular is something that you don't want to draw, as opposed to something like any other interaction that potentially stops the opponent from actually playing. This, sure, it draws you cards, but you still need a way to stop the opponent. So it's nice. Maybe it's worth playing at 3. Maybe it's worth playing at 1. But for the most part, I think that it's just okay. And Droll has been seeing a lot more play as of recently, mostly due to the Mulch armies. So having all of the draw spells does make you susceptible to a Droll. If you like drop 3 draw spells on your opponent and then they Droll you, you're just kind of sitting there with a like 1 card, so it's not exactly great. Yeah, that's pretty much it. As for the rest of the cards, we're running 3 Valor, 3 Infip, 3 Ash Blossom, the 1 Ghost Bell, as well as 2 Nibiru. Now, Nibiru isn't normally included in Tenpai, but I don't understand why. In a best of 1 format, especially a ladder style format, being able to Nibiru something that could be problematic, like for example, a big Wombo combo like Punk deck list, or a big Wombo combo, I can't think of another big combo deck, I guess like Snake Eye, or like I don't know. Also, being able to use Nibiru in conjunction with Infip or Valor on like a Yubel board is very strong. So there's a lot of instances just where Nibiru ends up winning you the game, or at least doing something at the very least. So that's nice. That's pretty much it. I think that it's extremely strong, mostly in a best of 1. I probably would side deck this at best in a side deck format. So there's that. Obviously, we're running the 1 Magnemite. We're also running the Harpy's Feather Duster, the 2 Lightning Storm, and 2 Red Reboot. I think Red Reboot is absolutely crazy, and realistically is just a solid card to play. Just being able to entirely invalidate back row is very, very strong. So yeah, that's pretty much it. As for the rest of the cards, we are also playing, in the extra deck specifically, we're playing the 1 Black Rose Dragon, the 1 Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon, the 1 Samurai Destroyer, 1 Kui Belt, 2 Bident Dragion, and 1 Trident Dragion, as well as the 1 Transcendent Dragion. And realistically, I would probably play 3 Bident and 2 Transcendent Dragion, just to not lose to Unicorn, Castura Unicorn, which is fairly common. So that would probably be what I would do, but the difference between playing 3 Bident and 2 Bident is kind of inconsequential. It's mostly the second Transcendent. However, you can't make me craft another Transcendent. Then we are also playing the 1 Typhon. This is very cuttable. We're also playing 1 Striker Dragon, 1 Hieratic Seal, 1 Hita, 1 SP, 1 Promethean Princess, and one Underworld Goddess. These two and this one are the 3 cuttable cards, I would say. The Typhon, the Promethean, and the Underworld Goddess. They're all good, but they're not exceptional, and for the most part, they are the ones that have come up the least with this. Promethean's probably the last one I would cut. But yeah, these two you could definitely cut for an extra Brident and an extra Transcendent. So there you go. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going second, and look at that hand. It's incredible. It's full combo and Perulia. So we're going to start off here with the Perulia, which will promptly be met by the Ash Blossom, and like that's A-okay. To the which my opponent will then go for the Piri Ray, grabbing a Stellar. That's not something I expected. They're going to go for the Stellar here. I'm going to go Infip. They're going to go for the Cross Out. That kind of sucks. But at least we have the Magnema as well. And this is one of the reasons I'm playing so many hand traps. Instead of playing board breakers like Droplet or what have you, instead I just cut all of those and just said back row removal, hand traps. Basically the idea is don't let the opponent play the game. If the opponent plays the game, we lost. So that's kind of the idea. So my opponent's going to go for the Synchro Summon here. They're going to activate the effect. They're going to pick the card. They're going to grab up 5 Rainbow for reasons, I don't know. And then we are going to banish the Stellar so that they can't grab it back. And more specifically, so that Magma grabs up during the end phase. Now, because of 5 Rainbow and we don't have a set card, I end up grabbing the Pydra here. It just makes the most sense. And we grab a Ghost Bell, which is so good here. My opponent's going to go for the Woes here after we activate the Harpy's Feather Duster. Out comes the Yubel. The Yubel is then going to activate its effect, to the which we will... we'll allow them to add the card back, and then we'll go for the Pydra, to which they will then activate their second effect, which can be Ghost Spelled, because this summons from extra deck, grave, or banishment. So that's kind of interesting, but alas, there you go, we just negate it. And now they can't do anything, pretty much. Even if they were to be able to do anything, I'm not really too concerned, seeing as how we do have the time in hand. Here we're going to go for the Song and Summoning, and here I actually do activate the Song and Summoning to grab up Chandra, because if they have the Ash, this is the best way to kind of play around that. So out comes Chandra. We're going to Synchro here into the Bident Dragon, and then bring back the Chandra. Here we go to combat. We're going to grab the Fadra. Fadra's going to bring back the Pydra, and then we're just going to walk over the field. And this, at this point, is just well over lethal. We don't really have to do a whole lot here. And yeah, we just attack. Synchro here into the Transcendent Dragon. There you go. That's fun. Alright, now what if you're stupid and decide to go first instead? Well, there's still plays. So, yeah, I accidentally clicked go first here. Oops, muscle memory. Anyway, we're going to grab the Pydra here off of our Song and Kaiman. Luckily, we don't get Ash. We're going to go for the Pydra for the Song and Summoning. Song and Summoning effect is going to activate, and we're going to grab up the Genroku. Genroku is then going to special summon itself. We also pitch the Fuwa Loss. And out comes the Maxi, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm literally just going to pass here. I have 3 hand traps, all of which are fairly good, and we have Genroku to grab up Fadra or the like. We also just immediately fire the Maxi, which ends up being very useful. They're going to go for the Fenris here, and Fenris is extremely bad for us because it can banish the Song and Summoning or banish any of our other cards, which we don't want. So I'm going to Veiler there just to negate. And out comes Low. Tragic. They're going to go for the Saphira and grab up the big guy, and I'm just going to Bestial Magnema away that Saphira just immediately, and out comes the Magnema. Or we're going to activate the Magnema effect. Here they're going to go Blessing, and before they can actually drop the Blessing onto the field, because of the way that I want this to go, or more specifically, because I'm almost certain that they have like an additional guy, like a Saravis or something along those lines, it's best now for me to go for the Genroku. However, they have a second Maxi, so instead of going for Fadra, I end up going for Chandra, just because if they commit to the battle phase here, it's actually going to be better for me to have the Fadra. Anyway, they're going to... I don't know what this play is under Maxi, but they decided to go for Link Karibo into Skull Guardian, so that's something. And they had another low in hand, so yeah, I don't know what this is. Anyway, out comes the Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. They're going to add back to the hand the Saphira, and then they're going to go to combat phase and walk over the guy, and attempt to walk over as well, to which I will activate the Chandra here, because we drew the Dora Dora, I feel fine if they do end up negating here, and they just decide to not, for reasons? I don't know. Also, if you're wondering why I didn't activate the Nibiru effect, it's because we can't, due to Genroku. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know if there was a reasoning behind not activating this, or if they just thought they couldn't do anything, but yeah, now we can just bring back... At this point, they don't really have anything that I'm worried about, And then they continue to play into the Max E, which is kind of weird. So there's that. You're gonna summon here. Reminder, I went first, and I've been Max E twice. Comedy. Anyway, we draw actually extremely well, and you'll see why in a second. They're gonna go and just activate a whole bunch of things. They ended up grabbing a unicorn here. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And at this point I go, wait a second. They don't have an answer to Black Rose. Because they summoned... I thought this was going to be Saravis. So I was thinking of, like, ways to beat Saravis. Because Saravis, if you don't know, Saravis is an absolutely insane card, which they do have in hand. Okay? Now, Saravis has a hidden effect that Voiceless voice players just consistently forget about. Which is... Where is it? Do they not have Saravis in hand? I could have sworn they had Saravis in hand. Maybe they don't. Maybe I'm stupid. But they should have Saravis in hand. They do not. I'm stupid. Forgive me. I think they did search something, but they didn't. Beside the point. Saravis allows you to negate a summon, which specifically is very good against Tenpai because the monster doesn't ever hit the field. So even if they have the field spell, it doesn't matter because you just... and it's gone. So, and it banishes, which is crazy. So yeah, Saravis is crazy. Anyway, I'm going to Maxi here. They're going to special summon and then special summon again. We draw Fua, which is very funny and not very good. I'm going to Imfip here. They're going to go for the Protector, and yep, that's fine. Out comes the Radiance, and we drew Ash, which is great. So I'm just going to Harpies and then Ash and then Lightning Storm because Snake is Fader, and we normal summon the Hydra. The only thing at this point that could possibly stop us is Ash. That's it. We know one of the cards in hand. I don't believe... I'm pretty sure we do. We might not. But at this point, we just go grab Fadra. This is why we play the second Fadra as well. So that we can grab Fadra and special summon and bring back the Chandra after having nuked our field. So, good game. What really fun. Alright, here we are going second this time. And look at that. 2 engine, 3 non-engine. That's what you like to see. My opponent is playing... Yubel. Okay. So they're going to go and pop the Spirit of Yubel, to the which I will actually Ghost Spell this because it prevents the Yubel from hitting the field, which means that they have less bodies. It's just a lot more difficult for them. This is already not like a great start for them, but they're going to go and link off for Almirage. This is kind of a weird play. I'm not entirely certain I like this play, but I get it, right? Because now we can bring back with the Spirit of Yubel and then activate the effect of the Spirit of Yubel, grabbing up another Nightmare Pain. So at the very least, they have follow-up, and then they can link those two off for... They go Cross Sheep here, which I... no idea why they do that. They're going to go and Synchro here, or not Synchro, Fuse into Phantom of Yubel, and just pass the turn. They also had the Yubel in hand, which is kind of funny. We draw Maxi, which is cute. We're going to go and normal summon the Hydra. Now, here's the thing. I cannot beat, at this point, I cannot beat Nightmare Pain, right? This is where something like Heavy Storm would be better than something like Red Reboot, but I think Red Reboot is just holistically better, right? Being able to hit like counter traps and stuff like that. And entirely invalidate traps is pretty nice. So there's that. Anyway, we grab up the Songen Kaiman to grab up the Genroku. Genroku modulates its level so that we can reborn with the Biden Dragon, and then Genroku can activate its effect again, bringing out the Fadra, which can then once again reborn the Genroku, which has been reborn twice and summoned off of its own effect, which is hilarious. And then we can just go Seals and Genroku pass. This is one of the things that they've been doing in the TCG, or that they were doing in the TCG prior to the limitations, going first. And they would just like hope to draw like their non-engine that was like a bunch of floodgates. But they would just go first, knowing the opponent wanted to side in a whole bunch of cards for going first, and then they would side in a whole bunch of cards for going first, set a bunch of floodgates, and end on this. Now this seems unopposing, or like unassuming, but what it is it's a non-target bounce for a face-up card. It is a reborn of something like, or a summon of something like Magnamut, Fadra, Chandra, etc. Same thing with Genroku. It's a summon of something like a Fadra or a Chandra. And then on top of that, it's the non-engine that you have, right? Which, in this case, is Maxi Veiler. So, extremely difficult to beat. Just like, kill, right? Or kill through. And on top of that, having the non-engine to potentially allow you to prevent whatever they're doing. That's what makes Tenpai so good, is that you can just continue to do stuff like this. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to immediately fire the Maxi, so that even if they were to go immediately into the Phantom of Yubel, we draw a card. We draw a Lightning Storm, and then we get drolled. Tragic. But alas, they're also under droll, so I'm not really too concerned about that. Out comes the Grave Squirmer, popping the Spirit of Yubel. Spirit of Yubel is going to summon the Yubel, and then they're going to link off into Yama, forgetting that droll is a thing, and then into the Apo. They could have just used all of that for Apo, but alas, they did not. Out comes the Phantom of Yubel once again. They're going to link off once again into SP Little Knight for reasons. And then I'm going to Veiler before they go to combat, and I Veiler the Phantom of Yubel, kind of hoping that they activate something, like the Phantom of Yubel, and they just don't. Cool. That makes this way easy for me. As soon as they go to combat, I activate the effect of the Genroku, which will then summon the Fadra. Again, not negating. Summon back the Pydra. Pydra is going to, or Apo's attempting to negate the Pydra. But this is where Seal comes in, and we just bounce the Apo, and Apo doesn't have attack points to modulate, so therefore, Pydra resolves. We just set the card here, because we're under roll, because Pydra is a very balanced Yu-Gi-Oh card. And since we tributed the monster, we can go for the Magnema. Magnema is going to search from grave the Genroku. And then Genroku gets to special summon itself. Isn't it so cool? Anyway, my opponent's dead. It doesn't matter. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna add a card to our hand. Most notably, something to get us into Chandra, right? Like a Fadra or a Pydra or something along. And then I'm gonna make what is it? Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon. And nuke the field. Alright, here we are, once again, going second. You'll love to see it. That's, once again, 3 non-engine, 2 engine. However, one of those is really bad with the Fadra. So, SpaghettiOs. Anyway, my opponent is going to reveal that they are on something with Ferrigite. Now, it's very funny to send the Ferrigite here after having Extraved, so that's cute. Anyway, they're going to go Diviner, sending the Herald. Herald is then going to search up Saravis, and hey! Maybe that's where I thought the Saravis was. Anyway, they have a Saravis in hand. They're going to do a whole bunch of things, and then I'm going to maxi them, and then they're going to be like, oh no, I can't do any of those things. So they're going to summon the Skull Guardian here, and then add to their hand the Low, and then not summon Low. Now, mind you, they have ways of summoning it. They could put a Low onto the field, and they just elected not to. Now, I would have drawn a lot more cards because of the Perulia that I drew off of the 1 maxi summon, but it's still funny to see. Anyway, I draw Pydra for turn. I'm going to go for the Lightning Storm, hitting the back row. Now, I know what you're saying. Why would we not Harpy's Feather Duster and then Lightning Storm? Well, because of this little card in their graveyard called Prayers of the Voiceless Voice, which would have allowed them to summon another guy onto their field after the first one left. So I'm just not going to play around that. Like, I don't care if this guy's in attack position. I'm still going to kill him. So, yeah, out comes the Pydra. Pydra is going to then grab up our set card. And, yeah, that's the game. We're back with the deck, and honestly, I genuinely forgot that I didn't put Baron in here, so I immediately put it in here. So, for those of you who were wondering, yeah, there it is. Play Baron. It's pretty good. Mostly because you can make it with, like, Magnema and Chandra and some of these other things, and then you just have a negate, and then you can, like, normal summon a Pydra and just kill your opponent. It's great. Anyway, as for the rest of this, honestly, yeah, Tenpai is still insane. It got better because it's no longer the dominant best deck, what's expected to be the best deck, which means, 1, you're playing less Tenpai mirror matches. Not that many less, but you're still playing less, which is important, because the mirror match is literally just kind of like a coin flip. It's just kind of like sometimes you win and sometimes you don't, and it kind of doesn't matter what you do. Like, it kind of does, but not a ton, right? And the second thing is, because people are less prepared for you to specifically give them going first, and that they're not just, like, fully committing to winning going first, you're actually better off, because the end boards tend to be easier to break. They're more likely to not have just like big blowout cards like Anti-Spell or Judgment or stuff like that. And overall, you're more likely to actually be able to push through the board as opposed to previously, where that wasn't really a possibility. Or wasn't as often. So honestly, Tenpai may have gotten better. That sounds crazy, but now because it doesn't have a target on its back, it did get slightly better. That being said, I still don't know if it's the best deck. It might be the best deck to climb with, still, but it's hard to say. I don't want to necessarily be like, it's the best deck, and then all of a sudden you're playing a whole bunch of Tenpai mirrors, and it's not. So, it's somewhere in the, like, second to third best deck, I would say. Close behind, or close in nature with Yubel and Voiceless Voice. I think those decks are also incredibly strong. And sure, Fire King Snake Eye is technically up there, but I think there's a lot of issues with that deck as well. But all in all, still an insanely good deck. And yes, the Moltres armies absolutely are essential for this deck. They're so incredibly good. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, I like it very much. So appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.